This is Bev. She runs an animal rescue centre and takes in lost and hurt animals. Since she started 20 years ago, she's rescued more than 8,000 animals. Her rescue centre is less of a hospital and more of a zoo. Because a lot of the animals are hand-raised, they're pretty used to humans and can get into a bit of trouble. This cheeky emu thought our microphone was a bit tasty.
But around this time of year, a lot of small animals can get separated from their parents, like this little guy. Sometimes they find their way back, but if they're hurt, they're lucky to be taken to places like this, where they're taken care of and then released back into the wild once they're better.
In a country like Australia, finding injured native animals can be pretty common. But it's important to remember these are wild animals and they shouldn't be touched without your parents around. Sometimes they aren't badly hurt and you can just leave them where they are. But if you find one that's in desperate need of care, what should you do? We asked Bev what to do in these kinds of situations.
This little possum was brought in by somebody's cat into their house.
If you find an injured baby possum, the most important thing to do is put it somewhere warm.
Ideally, you have a pouch or a beanie and you put them in there and keep them nice and warm and fold it over because they will get out.
Once it's somewhere safe, get help straight away by calling a vet or your local animal rescue centre. That's important because sometimes possums won't look like they're injured, but their fur could be hiding deep scratches. And don't try to feed the animal.
No, if you feed it and it's cold, it won't digest it properly, won't swallow properly if it's in shock. So it's far better to warm them up even for the whole night and don't try and feed it.
But what happens if you find a baby bird?
So these little kids were blown out the tree in the windy weather the other day. So we're just going to raise them and then release them.
Don't try to feed the bird anything. Just put it somewhere safe where it can calm down.
So the most important thing is just to put them in a box with a hot water bottle underneath the box, and then the animal can get off it if it's too hot or get back on if it's cold. Okay. And that's the most life-saving thing anyone can do.
But for a meat-eating bird like an owl, it's a different story.
So when you get meat-eating birds in, you can actually feed them dog meat because it's got lots and lots of calcium in it and protein.
And finally, lizards. Putting a lizard in a warm, dark place is the best thing for it, but not if it's bleeding.
If it's bleeding a lot, you wouldn't want to warm it up because it might bleed more.
You can put human medicine like betadine on it if it has a cut. Just putting the lizard in a cardboard box, putting a towel over its head and giving it food will make a big difference to saving its life.
You can feed them chopped up bananas, strawberries, tomatoes. They love things like that. They like boiled egg and raw egg in a little shallow dish.
So the most important things to remember are
warm, dark, quiet. They're the three lifesavers.
But don't forget, though they might be small, these are still wild animals. So if you're trying to pick one up, remember to wear gloves and protect yourself as well. Remembering these handy tips might help you save an injured animal's life.